something went on here, something went on there. And
this time on TNT.
What the H is wrong with Burton Cummings?
And we find out why Jonathan likes the St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack.
Plus, what's up with the chronic masturbator that lives in the apartment next to my mom? That's all coming up right now on TNT.
Welcome back, Jonathan, to a whole new week, number 33.
All the days are running in together because we live on a dirt road in the country. And for 3 days, we couldn't get out of our house because the road wasn't plowed. The road got plowed yesterday morning, and then we got 30 fresh centimeters of pow overnight. It's still snowing.
I've seen the pictures. It's pretty much all of PEI and most of the East Coast are just getting hammered with feet upon feet.
And you go through hills and valleys of like, oh my gosh, this is kind of fun and kind of funny, and then this is brutal.
I'm hoping that it warms up again, but not too fast right now.
Why?
For you? Well, because I don't want it to flood.
Oh, thanks, bud. That's good foresight.
It's a lot of snow.
It really is. Like I have an Airstream trailer, as I've mentioned before, and the snow is up above the door. It's above the door of the Airstream. And I'm going to say conservatively, there's like a 4.5 foot base of snow. You can make snow stairs in the drifts. It's crazy.
How far down did it get before this? Like, were you all like, was it starting to melt? You had some nice weather like we did, right?
Well, the gauge is my picnic table. We have a wagon wheel picnic table. So yesterday I could see the seats on the wagon wheel picnic table. Today you can't see the picnic table.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Well, I feel for you, and let's hope that's the end of that.
Hey, I have some exciting news, and it pertains to the bot of the week. I used to host a show called Jono Vision on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. There was a young man named Andrew Stokely who worked in the audio department there, and he was kind of fresh-faced and a new guy, but really you could tell he was passionate about his craft and just happy to be at work every day no matter what he was doing, smiling, and just one of those guys who just loves what he does. Mm-hmm. These days, he is the, chief audio engineer for curling, for the curling coverage, and he's out on the curling tour. Listens to the potty. He also mows his grass at a 45-degree angle. Like, he's that guy. Very meticulous.
Oh, wow.
He's that guy in your town that does that. So Andrew's been very generous with his time, tracking me down over the last several months, saying, hey, how do you guys, what's your setup technically? How does it work? What kind of mic are you using? So we finally had a long chat last week, and here's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I've had my computer right in front of me, facing me, and my mic kind of off to the side on a 45-degree angle. He said that the type of mic I have to be right up on it and speaking directly into it. So
you should have a just a directional, not an omni.
Well, yeah, and he said this particular, he looked up the mic that I have, and he said this particular thing has a small, I don't even know what the word is, but sound hole. And the sound hole, the way I was set up, was pointing across my mouth instead of right into my mouth. So now I'm just jamming words right into the sound hole. But here's my point is this. He's out on tour every week with the Curlers and takes the time to track me down just because as a guy who likes sound, he wanted to reach out and say, can I help you with your sound a little bit? If that's not bot of the week honors, I don't know what is.
That is amazing, the fact that he's hooking you right up with information.
Well, and sometimes when you don't know anything about anything, you can get sucked into overbuying or buying more than you need. I said, do I need a mic or should I get a helmet made of egg cartons to keep the sound inside? And he was like, no, just get the mic in front of your mouth. I was like, well, I can do that.
Yes. And the diaphragm is smaller is what he's saying, right?
Yeah, the diaphragm's smaller, so I need to point my words at the diaphragm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was too far away. There you go.
So, what the hell's going on other than the snow? Can you even get out of your house? Are you just you've been writing with the boys?
I have been. We're writing season 10 that goes to camera in May. I'm embroiled in another consumer heated exchange. For someone who worked on Street Sense, I am surprisingly not good at this. Do you want to get into what's happening with my tires or not really? We can just skip over it. I'm good either way.
Well, let's get the Coles notes of the tires.
All right. A place in our neighborhood, we get an oil, grease, and filter done on our truck. They say your tires are bald, you need new tires. Why don't we price a few tires? So they call the next day and say, your tires are in. We say, but I thought you were going to price the tires. Oh, no, these ones are here, you're going to love them.
Oh.
So we think, well, it's a little guy.
Tires.
We want to spend money in our neighborhood. We want to support the small operations. So we need tires. So we get the tires put on. Get there just before closing, pick up the truck. We were driving a car in town. We're going to pick up the truck on the way home, but wanted to pay for it before they closed. Long story short, though, it's too late. We don't like the tires. And they won't take them back. They won't do anything about it, even though Michelin has a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. So it's become this entire thing where they won't take the tires back. Michelin says they have to. So they've sent us to an authorized Michelin dealer in town, and that dealer called these people, and it's hideous.
Wow. So you're just in the middle of a tire cluster.
Well, here's the thing with the tires is we've been stuck on our road, not just because it's snowing, but because the tires aren't as tough. They're not as good.
Jeez.
What's new with you, bud?
Speaking of Cluster and Cluster Tom from last week's or former Bud of the Week.
Is nothing simple.
Listen,
Lamb of God is nothing simple.
Let me tell you something. I went to the post office.
Right.
And I put the shirts in the envelopes. And
so let's start at the start. I brought you a half dozen when we were in Toronto.
Yeah. Yes.
And you had 3 Bud of the Weeks retroactives.
Yes.
We're doing zone coverage. I'm East Canada, and you're Central Canada and West.
Yes. So I was sending these all 3 off, but I had a real scene trying to get the right envelope, and the lady was like, no, it's got to fit through the little ruler that they give you, or it's too thick. I don't know if you did the same thing. So I'm sitting there trying to fold these shirts, and by the time I got it down, like she was getting it all like, oh, no, you got to fold it like this, and this is not going to go in unless you just... So she's doing it, and I just realized by the time the second one's in there, I'm like, I have no idea what shirt's in what.
You panic.
And I just kind of like gauged by feeling the bags of the sizes. God. And I couldn't open them again because like once those things are shut, that's the end of it. They're sealed.
First of all, what do you mean bags? Like you sent them in bags?
You know those puffy envelopes that are kind of bag-ish?
Yeah.
But they're not bags, you know? The same thing you sent it to me, the 2 shirts
like bubble
originally.
packs. Sure.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, but they're more flat. And you had to get it to fit through this little hole in this ruler thing or else you're not going anywhere.
See, that's what we get for being a mom and pop shop, doing it ourselves.
Yeah, man. So I sent them all off and I find out the first problem, like the only thing that I didn't want was to send the cluster Tom, who has the cluster headaches. I didn't want to send him the small one, and that's what happened. He gets a medium. So
meanwhile, Wibble Chicken is going, what do I do with this extra large?
And and Livel doesn't care because she's throwing it up in a shadow box on the wall for good times.
Well, I love that, but Livel could also wear with a belt, cinch. She could wear it as a night dress. I made a big mistake and I blew it on all fronts. So we're gonna have to figure this out. We got to get more sizes. We got to think about getting women's sizes as well because we're figuring it out. I'm going to tell you something. Maybe we go with keychains.
Keychains and
they're
buttons
unisex
and stickers.
Yeah.
Perhaps a nice decal for the back of your car.
Yeah.
To say, hey,
oh, yeah, let's get wind stickers for our fake radio stations. 1019 The Bird that goes in the back of your windshield. Yes. How stoked would you be if you were driving down the highway and you saw someone with a 1019 The Bird sticker and you knew it was because they meant they were a bod? You know how folks who are in AA have I'm a friend of Bill W's bumper stickers? Maybe if we have ones that say like 1019 The Bird, that's code for I'm a bud.
That is good. That's nice.
Just one of the buds.
So I've been doing radio these mornings.
How's it been going?
At the wonderful TSN. It's great. 1050 with Matt Cause filling in for Bob Makowitz, a good old buddy. Former trumpet player in Glue Leg, Canadian rock classic band. But it's been good times with Matt.
Where's Mako this week?
I think Mako is just rocking in Parkdale with his wife and daughter, just chilling, probably enjoying the week off, because you know as much as I do, going anywhere as a family during the March break is probably one of the stupider things to do, because you're just going to get into lineups no matter what's happening.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like shopping on December 24th for Christmas.
Well, actually, I've discovered December 24th, there's actually a real calm in the stores because most folks are done.
I don't know, man. If you're going, not here, maybe in Truro, but not here.
In the small world of it all, did you know that Mako's wife, Sandra, is the production executive in charge of the Mr. D show at CBC?
I knew she worked at CBC. I do know Sandra, and I know now that there's that link, but that's spectacular, and I love her. She's amazing. She's a great lady. Lucky person. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Here's what I forgot to tell you. Circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him, right? So after we talked so much about swearing on the last episode and how I don't do it, I have been tested this past week in ways that really challenged my desire deep down to swear.
And I don't know if you notice, but I haven't sworn.
No, I did notice that.
And I'm trying not to swear. So we're having like a weird...
It's a Freaky Friday. So here's the funny thing. The first thing that happened is the day after we recorded the last potty,
I felt dirty afterwards.
Because of all the swear talk?
I said a lot of F-bombs.
Well, I felt like earnest and squeaky clean and like a nerd. Anyway.
There was that too.
So I get the family in the truck. We drive down our road. We're trying to make a break for Shoppers because both girls are sick and we're out of the Advil.
Oh.
Boom, we hit a snowdrift and get stuck. The one time that we didn't bring hats and mitts for everybody, we're half a kilometer from our house and we're going to have to walk back. In a moment of genuine anger, I yelled, "Son of a B." I said the letter. I didn't even say it.
You said son of a B.
Son of a B. But 2 days later, when we'd been trapped in our house, we still hadn't gotten to Shoppers, which had been closed that day anyway. We still didn't have Advil. Everyone was still sick, and I had a fever. I went outside to get something from the car, and I landed flat on my back on the ice, and I yelled, "Sea sucker," but the full word.
With the family right there?
No one heard. Except the gods, because it was pretty loud.
How did it feel?
Oh, it felt filthy. It's a terrible word.
No, but you got to the top. You got from 1 to 10. You got the 10. And that's like total exertion. You released it all.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the last time I got to 10 wasn't even the F word. I started to say this on the last episode. I had the most frustrating exchange at the Department of Motor Vehicles. One of those, like, I have this paper, but I need the other paper. And suddenly, like, I went to get a plate and I left needing an inspector to come to my house in 6 weeks. Like, one of those, like, this went so horribly awry that I got in the car and I didn't say a word, but I yelled loud enough that I saw stars.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. How angry is
public?
That? Well, in my car in the parking lot of the DMV.
Oh. You saw stars. That's awesome.
That's how loud
I yelled. You don't even know what you said. You blacked out from the screen.
It was like, remember when Bill Murray shows up on Richard Dreyfuss's doorstep in What About Bob for like the millionth time?
Yes.
Oh no, it's Get Out of the Car, and Richard Dreyfuss yells, "Get out of the car!" Like it sounds like Get Out of the Car, but it's not even.
That's a great movie. What About Bob? Underrated.
That's classic. A great movie. So there you go. Sea Sucker was my default.
Wow.
Yeah, and yelling so loud I saw stars. In other Canadianity news this week, do you remember Vicky Moss?
Vicky, what's that name?
Joey Moss, the Edmonton Oilers manager. You know who I mean? The guy that is always on the bench.
Yes, I do know. Yes.
He had a commercial campaign with Wayne Gretzky.
Yes, that's how they met.
Giving each other noogies. Yeah, so Wayne used to date Joey's sister, Vicky.
Right.
Vicky had a tune on the St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack called "If I Turn You Away." And for some reason I had it in my head this week
What?
So I went to download If I Turn You Away on iTunes, and I had to buy the whole St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack, which was kind of a happy accident because I'd forgotten that David Foster created the love theme from St. Elmo's Fire, and it's a beautiful track. Do you remember it?
Well, it's beautiful, but it's also kind of dramatic.
What's wrong with dramatic?
Well, it's just a little like, check out my white, perfectly square car. Dramatic. Like, too much. Maybe huge shoulders dramatic, like a big blazer that's like bumps into people.
Don't
dramatic.
you believe in love, Jeremy?
He's such a cheesy dude that it just soaks into the tunes, man.
I don't know about that.
I just cannot feel anything. Is that you're talking about it's nice and it's positive, but it's just also like syrupy, man. Hard syrup. Like 50-50 shots styles.
It's
it is 8 shots.
Yeah. I get the Fostery of it all, but I also I do think he knows his way around a melody.
Have you seen that documentary on the Tears Are Not Enough?
Oh, it's so good. He's driving across the bridge trying to come up with the melody, right? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I did this Hoser Palooza thing last week with David Bedini.
If you're only earning with Earmuffs.
Dave Bedini. And he played that, they played that little doc clip, and I was just totally brought me back. But yeah, when he's like thinking of the melody, and it's like, yeah, this is how I roll, like in the Benz, just cruising around van.
Coming up with melodies. How come, I was trying to tee it up. Here it is. In a world where Jeremy Taggart doesn't believe in love, comes a song so powerful, Jonathan Torrens paid $9.99 to download the entire record from iTunes. Even worse than the instrumental version is the version with lyrics, because the lyrics are heinous.
It's just I don't know if it's the pipey piano thing or like the motion, the eighth note dun, 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 in the background that makes it
gorgeous. Here's the best part of the video.
It just sounds like it's so like put some more Vaseline on the camera lens kind of style.
Here's the best part. The video is intercut between a woman equestrian riding a beautiful horse and the Foss, Canada's Fonz, leaning over at the piano, jotting down this melody. Wearing a Cosby sweater. And there's also a sax break in it.
Of course there is. So
yeah.
What do you stand for? Do you still love this? Or have you now started to understand the element of Fosterishness?
No, I kind of love it.
You still love it? Like what you put?
Yeah.
You draw a bath and put it on?
Yeah. I draw a bath. I get a bath bomb at the body shop. Light some candles.
Have some wine.
Ask mother to draw me a bath. Yeah. Have a glass of rosé.
First, you have to yell at somebody. Tell them to get out of the room, to leave you alone.
No, first I have to yell so loud that I see stars. Let's take a break on TNT.
Oh, here comes the kit.
And when we come back, I'll tell you about the chronic masturbator that lives next door to my mom. We'll be right back.
Where's my beer chair? Hey.
Welcome back to this 33rd episode of Taggart and Torrens. Thank you for sending me some of the emails that the people have sent.
Yes.
It's so cool to know the geography behind who's listening. Lots of folks around the world, lots of expat Canadians living elsewhere wanting a little taste of home. Hello to all of you.
Yes, and this is just this is from the Taggart and Torrens at Gmail account that we check regularly and listen to all the wonderful stories and great admiration plus ideas, suggestions.
People, like stories about people losing their virginity in a canoe on Canada Day. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if it gets more Canadian than that.
No, it doesn't.
One gentleman was talking about having a new baby and going for a walk in the evenings with the dog who's been neglected, and he's kind of laughing his way around the neighborhood walking the dog. Like, that stuff is so cool, and I think it's safe to say that we are both surprised, but so delighted that people are digging what we're doing here.
Definitely.
Congrats to our audio engineer who moonlights as the drummer in the Arkells, Tim Oxford, who...
Yes.
Did they win 2 or 3?
2.
They won 2 Junos. The good ones, right?
Group of the Year and Rock Album of the Year.
Unbelievable.
2 very solid ones.
And how rad was that in their hometown of Hamilton? Imagine the shows they saw at Cops Coliseum, and there they are playing there.
Taking it home in the Hammer in front of their peeps, and they played really well. As usual, they were probably one of the best performances,
I would say.
And a kind of dreary and kind of not so good Al. I guess what I would say. Well, I didn't really enjoy the award show, but hopefully it'll be better next year. But they were definitely one of the few highlights of the awards.
I like Jacob Hogarth a lot. I thought he was great. It's not an easy gig.
It's not an easy gig.
I call it the Kurt Browning factor. Jacob is a musician, and as a host, if he's no good, it's like, yeah, but he's Jacob Hogarth. But if he's good, it's like, wow, he's a singer, but he's also a pretty good TV host. I thought he did really well. It's hard to forge any new frontiers in that role, and I thought he was the most important thing, which is comfortable, and the second most important thing, which is himself.
Yeah, and that's fine, but it wasn't that entertaining, and just because somebody gets through things not looking like it was a sore, it wasn't like, bite your lip bad, but it was just kind of happening and going by, and then just there was no real humor where there's an opportunity to be. If you're going to host something, maybe tell some proper good laughs, or at least have some moments of reactionary humor that you might not have known that was going to happen, but it's still funny by virtue of the people doing it. That was definitely missed. And they had that. It's not like it's ever been perfect, but it's been close only when there's a really funny person that's hosting, like either a Jan Arden or William Shatner, or even when the SCTV people used to do it or whatever. It's just that it has a way better quality if the person is kind of got that reactionary quality of not looking, stunned, or just making something more entertaining than it should be, even if it's boring. You know what I mean? You're good at doing that, Jonathan.
Thanks, bud. Well, John Brunton and Barbara Bowlby, who own a company called Insight Productions that produces the Junos, and they produce The Amazing Race Canada. They're a huge company. What they've done is unbelievably awesome. If I had a critique, I guess in the Alanis pack, when they were throwing to, like, let's take a look at the life and career of... No, not the medley, not her performance, which I thought was good.
The pack.
Like, let's take a moment and look at the, life and work of Alanis or whatever. They had Shania Twain, and then they had Rain and Chantal on what looked like an iPhone video. I think unless you're going to go Shania, Celine, Avril, Sarah McLachlan, like, unless you're going to pull all the heavyweights, don't use 1.5.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't be so much. I didn't see that. I saw the performance.
I thought the performance was great. And I thought her speech was great. And Glenn Ballard is a dude.
Back when he wrote the Hold On from the Wilson Phillips.
Did he?
Yeah, that was a big one. Man in the Mirror.
No, that's a Glenn Ballard joint?
I believe it is. He had some fair amount of hit songs on his own right before Alanis came knocking on his door.
Crazy.
But he did great things. They did each other great on both sides of it. I mean, he taught her a lot about pop music, and I guess she kind of took that and went around the world and sold 20 million albums on one record. Or that's just got no flies on that kind of a performance.
Well, I guess the thing is, there's one thing to have someone who has talent come through your door, but it's another thing to know what to do with them.
Yeah,
and maybe that's his forte. Do you ever watch The Voice?
No, I don't. I can't handle that Adam Levine guy.
But I'm going to tell you something. That Pharrell guy is spectacular. Like, he's a prophet.
A prophet?
Yeah. He's every time he opens his mouth, it's poetry, and he tells people exactly what they need to hear. He coddles and nurtures without kid gloving. He just has a real gift for communicating. Well, and I didn't know that before I saw him on that show.
That's what a legitimate great producer is someone who can convey someone's ability to the best and bring the best parts of their ability to the forefront, and without affecting them too much, you know what I mean? Without trying to change them.
So
if there's talent there.
When you guys were working with like a Bob Rock, is he trying to change your sound, or is he just trying to capture what you do?
I think Bob is definitely sound is big with him. And I think songs are number one with him. He's always trying to keep it simple and effective and powerful. So, that's kind of his way of doing it. He's very old school in terms of traditional, in the good sense of being very aware of sounds and how to get great sounds, and technique to get sounds with mics and amps and XYZ of all those things through boards, and just knowing how to structure a song right from A to B to C to D to Z. He's just has a good understanding by virtue of 25, 30, 40 years of amazing experience in great studios with other legends. So I think Bob was just a really great engineer that has kind of good instincts, and he's good at doing that, I'd say, probably, to get the best out of a band. But Pharrell definitely seems to put, like, if you're working with him, it sounds like Pharrell music no matter what. So he obviously has his hands in there too. So it's that's the way music is now. If you did a Motown record, you would get that band and you would sound like Motown, or Stax, you would get, Booker T and the MGs if you're lucky, and you would have that amazing sound. And it doesn't really change the idea now of like one guy that has a specific thing that's great. When he works with somebody else, they usually sound like that still, just because they're looking for what he has,
Well, I guess.
Like David Foster in that song. You could take any David Foster produced records around that time, from like the woman artists that he did that were really successful, to like Chicago, to like, didn't he end up doing like Chilliwack eventually?
Did he?
I'm not sure if he did them, but there's a lot of stuff that he ended up, whenever you did a David Foster, it sounded like David Foster. It's like he gets...
I feel like, he did produce If I Turn You Away. He did produce it, bud. Are you excited?
Oh my God.
Didn't you play drums on that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did that session when I was 8 years old. In Langley, BC, of course. One of my favorite towns to play drums in.
Gretzky was just crushing that.
Oh, man. Did you ever meet Gretzky?
You have to wait till the chorus, bud. Here comes the pre-chorus. Stay with it.
I got a Gretzky.
Can't you see David Foster with headphones on, looking through the glass?
Yeah.
Giving Vicky the thumbs up as she nails the pre-chorus. Here you go, bud. One chorus and then we're out.
I'm like, now we're like watching my brother work on a car.
What happened to Vicky Moss? She had so much promise.
David Foster. That's what happened.
Is it?
Huh?
Well, where's Vicky Moss today? Oh man, it's a twofer.
Ask Joey, man. I don't know. What?
Written by David Foster and Richard Marks.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so let me tell you about the guy who lives next door to my mom.
The guy who likes to have a wank. Hey, hold on before I tell you that I saw the worst comedian of my life. I was in like Manchester or something. There was nothing to do on a day off. And we went into this comedy
went to see some comedy.
And it was banging, like packed. and the guy comes on and he's like, hey! And he grabs some guys in the front row's hand and he's like, I just had a wank!
No.
That was his opening line, man. I just had a wank!
Did you stay?
Like after he shook the guy's hand.
Did you stay?
I just had a wank!
I just had a wank!
And that was like the worst jokes. It was almost like if you get two buddies that don't tell jokes to try and tell jokes. That's how bad it was. It was numbing. I couldn't believe it.
Have we talked about before the fact that sometimes when you're bellied up to a urinal, someone will say, hey, you're that guy from that thing, and hold their hand out to shake?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
That's a bad one.
It's a bad one.
I remember seeing a guy at a urinal talking to me with both his arms crossed. You ever see that one?
Yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah, it is.
Arms folded
or what about hands on hips?
Yeah, that's a little forward. That's a little too much. The hands on hips are kind of like, check this. The hands folded with a big barrel is still kind of like I'm banged up and we're hanging out.
In the same way that I don't want to go to a shirts off party, I don't want to go to an open trough urinal.
Yeah, no, you don't. But the guys some beauties do that. I remember in Regina once going to the bathroom at a club and like, hey, you guys rock. And the guy was doing that big, huge barrel and he was taking a piss, but he was like, had the arms folded.
He was snapping off a quick number one.
Yeah, well, yep. Snapping her probably gives her, who knows? He probably had control, all kinds of control. Hey, so how about this guy? Tell me about this guy.
Okay, so a couple months ago, my mom says, I have to talk to you about something. I need your help. She lives in an apartment building in Halifax. And it would be weird if the guy that lived next door to her listens. She said,
it would be.
The guy that lives in the apartment next door comes home every night and masturbates from 6 till 10 when he goes to bed.
How does she know this is going on? He's just firing.
That is a standard line of questioning and one that I pursued. I said, how do you know what he's doing? And she, pleased me. She's like, oh, please. I know what it sounds like when people do that. So I said, well, what does it sound like?
No way.
And she said, well, I can hear he comes in and he gets in the contraption. I was like, well, wait, sorry.
What?
He what? He gets in the contraption and then it's just nonstop from 6 to 10. So she said, I feel like I need to confront him because for all I know, he really enjoys the fact that I can hear him and that's what he likes about it. I was like, I'm 97% positive that he doesn't know you can hear. So I said, do you ever see him like out around the halls and stuff? And she said, well, sometimes I'll see him out on his deck in the morning and he'll just wave and smile and say good morning. And I'm like, don't wave at me with that hand. So I said, you can't confront him directly about this. You don't want to have that relationship with this person.
What about the contraption though?
I know.
I'm still lost at the contraption.
I know.
As
was I. So I said, first of all, I moved her bed to the opposite wall. Did everything I could to kind of make her as far away as possible from the dude. I said, don't confront the guy. Let's see if it persists. So a few weeks later, it was still like, oh yeah, 6 o'clock, he comes home. Gets in the contraption, and he's just giving her till 10. Which is spectacular stamina. I guess in my mind, I don't know if that was a contraption that needs some WD-40, or if that was his bed. I don't know what that was. I made that up.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like what he does when he's like playing on one of those bouncy balls playing video games.
It'd be funny.
It's like playing Call of Duty or something like that. Right. It's all no big, just addicted to video games. It'd be funny if he was
next door saying like he was the guy from Police Academy who makes the sound effects, and he was just practicing making sound effects.
Or he has one of those like leg those leg things he squeezed together. What the hell are those? Thigh master. Yeah.
So it was still persisting after a few weeks. So I said, you need to bring it up with the landlord, and that way it's not you're not embroiled in this. So she went to the landlord and said, I need your help with something. Here's what's happening. The landlord went to him and said, is this what's happening? We've had a complaint that there's some noise. He's training for an arm wrestling competition. That's what it was.
What he's...
Yeah, he has some like Nautilus machine in his apartment. So he comes home at 6 and he's going, pumping up his bicep. So he is getting in a contraption, but it's not to pull the goalie.
So he's just like the best, like the most dedicated arm wrestler in the country. As soon as he gets home.
Isn't that a Three's Company misunderstanding? Like that sounds something Mr. Furley or Mr. Roper would misinterpret. Yes.
Always. Yeah, well, for sure they're doing it because I'm not doing it. Oh, wow. That's unbelievable that there's resolve and everything to the story.
The contraption was especially baffling.
Yes. And so what does your mom apologetic to the whole thing?
Well, no, because she didn't ever say anything to the guy, and I'm glad she didn't.
But she doesn't feel like, oh, that's no big. Like she doesn't feel any regrets.
No, it's just a big Three's Company misunderstanding.
Oh man.
Zooming
into Mr. Roper's eyes while he stares at the camera.
Bulging out of his head. I like when Mr. Roper did the takes to the camera.
Oh, that was my favorite. Breaking the wall and just looking right into you, saying, yes, this is happening right now.
Was that the first show that broke the fourth wall in that way? No.
I don't know. I think they did it in comedic terms. Maybe did
the Three Stooges do that?
No, not in that. But I seem to think maybe on TV in skits or something. Maybe in the Milton Berle. I think Carol Burnett. I know they did that all the time.
For sure. I don't know
if that was
that was around the same time.
Predating it. Yeah, so it's tough to say. Tim Conway and all those guys would do the third break and look in, and that would kill me even more.
Oh, I love it.
But when Roper did it, has anyone ever broke that wall and they've never done it? Well, they do. Have they done it in Trailer Park Boys? Because it's documentary style.
Well, they look at the camera all the time.
All the time, but not in the... Well, yeah, no, they're always doing that, for sure. But the original concept of it, Archie Bunker did it, didn't he?
Did he?
Didn't he?
Did he?
Something tells me that I think he did, didn't he?
Did he?
We gotta find it.
Did
Something
he?
tells me that I can see Archie Bunker looking into the camera.
Really?
No? Are you serious?
I'm looking up fourth wall awareness.
Yeah.
Comic awareness.
Who broke the wall first?
Well, when did the wall come down? I think it goes way back.
I'm going Carol O'Connor, man.
It just seems weird. I guess. I was going to say it just seems weird in the context of a show like that. But I guess it was a comedy show.
I'm pretty sure Edith would throw something out and he would go to the camera.
Really?
Right? Does that not
Well, the good thing is someone's going to know.
He would look right into the camera after Edith said something where he felt this is ridiculous. He would go to the camera.
It turns out that it happens a lot in comic books.
The comic book? That doesn't make the character. What are you talking about? When is like Spider-Man all of a sudden looking at you?
Well,
what?
When I googled,
because they have to for the comic.
when I googled "break the fourth wall," the first 2 pages were about like nerdy comic.
Yeah, it's probably the name of some stupid comic.
The fourth wall.
Yeah.
You know that
That's
expression, right?
That's what I hate about Google searches. Like, all of a sudden you get like 2 pages of actors doing what you're looking for.
Oh, I know.
Like, you can't get any real, like, guy making a stupid face or a guy who's not had enough water. You have to go, you can't really find it. Like, you'd think that would be easy, but it takes a long time.
Do you know what I was thinking would be a fun game to play on the show sometime?
What?
I Googled you. We find embarrassing sound ups from each other and play them, and the other guy has to guess when and where that was.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Dude, I Googled you.
Sound clips. Oh my God, that's funny.
Let's take a break. I'm going to look up what the first show was that broke the fourth wall. Yeah. And TNT episode 33 will continue in a moment. Don't go anywhere, will you?
And you know, saying the question is, what's cracking, Ronnie?
And we're back, Jonathan. Oh, here we go.
I felt that I was responsible enough and was known enough in Canada that I could pull it off musically, that I could bring the thing musically together, but I needed the most powerful man in Canada in the music.
David Foster.
Classic.
Talking about the making of Tears Are Not Enough. It's really, I mean, we should host a live screening of Tears Are Not Enough, the making of, because it's so Canadianity.
Well, like I said, the Hoser Palooza was a celebration of all of those things Canadian, and that was essentially what Dave Bedini and co were trying to put across that evening. But it was
was this
to bask in like that idea, but like how sometimes people can come across, saying stuff like that about themselves, or just kind of I don't know if it was the 80s or kind of partly seeming like part of the thing to be brash and act like you're egotistical. But
who's the one person that sticks out in your mind as being maybe the worst at that time?
Worst / best, because it's classic, is Burton Cummings.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So was Cummings humble when he started? Like, did he become that guy, or was he just that guy?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's kind of like the classic rock and roll. Hey, that idea. We've all met those personalities that just like can't get enough of like the limelight ideals, but also can write songs, and the guy can sing. And I don't know. Is that even at the beginning of time? Imagine he walked into vaudeville. I'm sure you'd see some of those types of people.
There are also clips around on YouTube of him, like, in a comedy special, like, doing light bits and stuff. But here, take a listen. I found this, it's John Roberts, who was J.D. Roberts back then, new music clip about how Burton's doing so wonderfully in Los Angeles.
I love
Listen to this.
They're not. He's still considered to be the quintessential Canadian, even though he spends about 95% of his time in Los Angeles. Burton won a Jono for Best Male Vocalist of the Year, something he seems to do without even trying. That makes a total of 17 Junos now to Burton's credit. He's been spending the last few weeks putting the finishing touches on a new album that'll be released at the end of the month. But the part of Burton Cummings that people are making the most noise about is the new look.
Basically, I just woke up one morning in November and I was sick and tired of the way I looked. These nice curls and just over the ear, but not too low. Just like the guys in the magazines. And isn't that mustache nice? Shouldn't we just trim it over here? And it all just made me sick. So I just chopped it all out. Nothing to do with the music.
People started looking like me.
The new wave syndrome, nothing to do with the end of the 70s, just boredom, you know. I wanted to see how I used to look.
And what about your bust? The press really made a big thing of that, and you only had about 3 joints on you.
What nonsense. Now, here's a funny one. The day that happened, the Winnipeg Tribune came out, and my mom came home from work, and there on the front step was lying the Winnipeg Tribune, right up at the top, the logo, the Winnipeg Tribune, and right beside it, a big picture of me and a huge headline saying, Cummings arrested.
Cummings and Goings.
Classic. Hey, isn't that like you just can't get enough because it's just so self-absorbed that it's like beyond.
Well, and you realize he kind of protests too much, right? The more he's like, I'm so sick of the gorgeous me, and everywhere I look, people are like, stop being so handsome.
I know, isn't that hilarious?
It's really bizarre.
Remember, there was that other clip of later when he was in after a concert or something like that, and he was talking about how he was just inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame or Walk of Fame, but he had to go on about how he I'm the only person who's in it twice. I'm in it with the Guess Who, and now I'm honored to be in it by my own. But it's like I'm a knight, and it's like, so this was within the last 10 years, so he's still at it.
This is
classic.
This is the thing that's bizarre. He does a Lightfoot, but he doesn't do a Lightfoot cover. He does Lightfoot if he was doing Rod Stewart, which is kind of a joke on a joke on a joke.
Yeah.
Have you heard this?
No, play it. I think I know what you're talking about.
It's Burton Cummings as Gordon Lightfoot doing Maggie May. And the crowd is lapping it up.
There are many ifs that preface this scenario. If you were walking through Rosedale...
All right, I'm already bored. Stand by.
...of his favorite art, Rod Stewart.
See, it requires 1 minute of setup. Oh, come on.
Gotta have a big setup. Show off his skills, Jonathan.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you. It's late September and I really should be back into
I don't know.
Bizarre. He's like,
it's so...
Let me just crush a Gordon Lightfoot impression here.
It's so high concept. Like, why is it not enough to just do, listen, I'm going to do 16 bars of Sundown? Why does he have to take it next level?
To do it like Gordon Lightfoot. I've never seen anybody do that before. It's like singing Creed like the Creed guy.
Yeah.
Or like Zeppelin like Robert Plant, but you're, not Robert Plant.
I mean, by the way, Creed Clearwater Revival... That's a funny sketch.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The guy from Creed singing Creedence. But Cummings as Lightfoot as Stewart is just a head-scratcher. Put it this way, the clip is 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. There's 1 minute and 28 seconds of joke-splanation before he even starts singing.
Yeah, but he had that, like, literally, I don't know if it was the Burton Cummings show or... He got on somewhere and they let him do it, but there's sketches like of him working out and doing these like ridiculous, making fun of exercises and him like doing. I saw one where he's like pretending to be like Al Green or something like that, like ridiculous.
It was a different time. Do you ever listen to Vinyl Tap?
I don't.
What do you listen to, Jeremy? Walk me through an average day.
I listen to my family.
Yep.
And music.
Do you guys play music in the car?
Yes.
Always?
Yes. No, depending on, sometimes it's just too confusing with kids in the car. But if I'm alone, I'll listen to music, or I'll listen to the sports talk. You know, I like the sports talk radio. I also like to listen to old music.
Are the kids at the age where they're vying for control of the radio?
No, not at all. I'll just put it on in the background so they can hang out and get used to some great memories with good tunes.
Nice.
But for, I mostly music, I'd say. I don't like to listen. A lot of my friends listen to podcasts all the time. Like they crush them all the time. But I don't listen to them yet. I listen to TNT once in a while.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
The thing that's cool about podcasts is, like, whatever you like, you'll find 15 podcasts about it. And you can be fulfilled on that realm and learn about it. It's no different than kind of the industrial side of the internet when it first came out, like learning about things and beforehand. So I think I should like a podcast.
I should too, and I totally get that people do. I'm late arriving at the podcast party, but I really dig how people ingest them.
Yes, they crush them.
They crush them. Yeah.
They crush them like rocks.
Let's take a little break, bud.
Breaks.
Right back on TNT, bud.
Fucking ready.
Hey, hello.
I am under a lot of pressure this week because I am taking on my first top 5.
Yes, that's right. I decided that let's talk about for the real reasons. My kids are going ape downstairs at the front of the computer, and you were good enough to take it this week.
Well, it actually works out well because I forgot to give you your assignment last week, so maybe it was a sign. I'm going to take this one on. So here's the task that I gave myself. You know when you're driving through Quebec and you're between Montreal and Rivière-du-Loup and you see these tiny roadside motels that have XXX danseuses nues. There's like the strip club circuit of rural Quebec. You with me?
Yep. Yeah, oh yeah.
These are the songs that would be playing when you walked into those tiny deserted strip clubs.
Wow.
Good one, right? It's pretty nichey.
Greasy, too.
Oh, really greasy and nichey and Canadianity.
Yes.
Should preface it by saying, never been in one. I can only guess this is what they play. Although, my friend Brian Height and I did stop into one of those tiny motels one night. We went into the restaurant, and the woman brought the menu over, and we both ordered, and she went to the phone and called the restaurant where the food was from, and they drove it over. They didn't actually prepare the food on site, but that's how kind of tiny these people prey on days like this when there are snowstorms.
I've stayed in one of those greasy hotels where they're like connected, and they actually, I'm pretty sure they have like there's like 5 channels and 3 of them are pornos.
Yeah,
that's just what the motel's for, I guess.
Greasy,
but like. I'm pretty sure the pornos were made in the hotel because
there's a good chance, right? They were live streaming.
Yes,
but imagine being like you take off your clothes for a living and you're on that circuit.
Those bad videos that started with like the big salt and pepper screen thing coming halfway across the screen and like fuzzing in and out a little bit, but like done on a VHS camera in the lobby.
Well, it was Bleu Nuit, man.
Yeah,
Bleu Nuit.
Well.
Scrambled cable.
This is Black Nuit.
And it would unscramble for a minute. All right. So you walk into XXX Danseuse Nue. Maybe you're in St. Louis de Haha. And this is the song that's playing.
Why?
I've been watching
the rodeo? The rodeo?
You don't think?
I do think, like, I thought Helen was coming on.
Okay, guys. Prochaine sur la stage, next on the stage, Vanessa.
every time.
Yeah.
Walk in the room.
And she's got her kids there because she couldn't get a sitter.
Oh my
All right, that's number 5. Maybe I'm not good at this. Am I not good at this?
No, you are good at it for sure, but I thought it was going to be like bad rock voisine or something, like you're going to keep it in Quebec.
Okay, you ready?
Like the Kellogg's.
Well, you can't pick the rock voisine tune with the children's choir.
Maybe the
We'll
box.
always be there when the moon... You can't do that.
Maybe the box. Maybe a
that would have been good. Closer together. Oh, that would have been really good. Okay, guys. D'accord, les gars. Prochaine sur la stage. Chantal.
For sure.
That's number 4.
The
Rockstar,
tough girls
Nickelback.
that want to keep it Alberta bound.
If you're dancing in St. Louis to Ha-Ha, things aren't going great for you. And it's the same as if you're a DJ in one of those motels like that. You're kind of doing better if you're taking off your clothes there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Than being a DJ there?
Being a DJ at those places, like, you're probably a drug dealer as well. That's probably not your main gig. You're
Okay, guys. D'accord, les gars. Prochaine sur la stage. Make some noise. Pour brandy snifters. Deborah Cox, man.
Oh, class. Nobody's supposed to be.
A slow jam. She was. Doesn't she still hold the record for being the longest at number 1 on the Billboard R&B charts with that song? It was crazy.
So. That was a good run. Yeah, definitely.
Deborah Cox. Nobody's supposed to be here. All right, number 2. Do you want to do the French Canadian strip club DJ announcing, and I'll kick the track?
Hey, everybody! Are you here, there, and everywhere? You're gonna have a good time tonight! Here we go! Enjoy it!
What's the stripper's name?
Here comes Shelly! Oh my god. What the fuck is that?
It's Amanda Marshall.
Oh my god.
Because they're about 20 years behind. They're so dated.
Oh my god. I was like, was that a jeans commercial you just fired on there, Bob?
Amanda Marshall.
Oh wow.
Fall from Grace.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that song though? Like, was that a hit?
Yeah. Sure
what
was.
That song?
I mean, it was no Birmingham. But I think it still
don't
did well
put it on again. Don't.
Why?
That's now. Let's.
You doing the introduction and me kicking the track is really fun. All right, you have one left. This is the number 1 song that would be playing in a Okay Guys Danseuses Nu St. Louis to Ha Ha. Roadside Motel.
No, every time it's gonna be the Okay Guys at the beginning.
Okay Guys, d'accord les guys. In English and French. Okay Guys, d'accord les guys. Chicken fingers on special guys, les doigts de poulet.
Oh, now throw in like something.
Shots at $2.99, $2.99 pour l'alcool. Et maintenant, okay guys, mets tes mains ensemble, put your hands together.
Okay. Oh, go to the next one. This is it.
D'accord les guys, tout le monde, put your hands together, mets tes mains ensemble pour ample parking.
Ample parking.
It's Mitsu. Bye bye, Punk Cowboy.
Of course it is. Ample parking.
It's kind of the new hit the post. It's really fun kicking the track at just the right time. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Okay, guys.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's like everybody, even like Pierre, the guy from Simple Plan, when he addresses the crowd.
Okay, guys. It's the letter M again. Okay, guys. Give it up for ample parking. Oh, man. It's the kind of place where the gals working sit at the tables hacking darts between, like, you have to get up against Cheryl. Okay.
So what does the guy say? If there's like a fight in the bar, he opens it up with the same thing, right?
Okay, guys, calm down. Hey, everybody, calms down.
Oh, man.
Hey,
okay,
guys, pay attention to the stage instead.
If he's really excited, just do that when he's really amped up.
Don't forget, guys, Chicken Finger is on special all night. But in the meantime, here's Penelope's. Don't you kind of want to go to this bar? It's so great. And there's resentment from the girls that live there and work there towards the headliners that come in from like Rivière du Loup.
Does that guy have sunglasses on in the bar? He has shades on for sure, right? Guys,
put your hands together for today's feature performer, Hannah Montana's.
Oh my! Hannah Montana. It's always that song.
Imagine everyone that dances in the bar has to dance to that song.
Yeah, what do you got? That really is how you branch apart to the next dancer. How do you do for BBM?
Okay, guys, keep it going for Penelope, and now here comes Stacy Sweet. Oh man, that's good stuff.
That's fun. Okay, I think we hit the post on that. That was a good one, though.
Oh, it's really intoxicating. I'm drunk with my own power doing the top 5.
Yeah, you're wielding, eh?
Oh,
just pounding it.
Okay, guys, guys.
Yeah,
good chatting, bud.
Good chatting. Thanks, Hop. That's it. We've wrapped her up on a 33 right here.
Crazy.
Good times, bud.
I'm excited to talk to you already again next week.
Yes, and we'll go into detail about our live show.
Yeah,
that's coming up very soon in Toronto. So we'll be able to talk about that
early May. We'll be able to talk about it officially.
Yes.
I feel like we need to go out on Bye Bye Mo Cowboy.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. So I'll talk to you soon next week there, Jonathan.
Hang on one sec. I just need to tee it up again.
Oh, yeah, no.
Do you want to throw to it?
Yeah, with those guys again?
Yeah.
Okay, guys! Come on back into bar. You have some of the best chicken fingers. You got it!
Guys, finish up your smokes. It's time to come inside again. It's Mario Lopez's mom.
It's Mario Lopez's mom. You're not practicing!
Okay, guys, make some noise for ample parkingism.